So when you think about integrated sports watches, the market is just absolutely saturated, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Totally crowded.
You've got the big names, the Rolex Land Dweller, IWC's Ingenieur, even that Tissot PRX, which is everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
And, well, they start to look a bit similar after a while, frankly.
They really do. It begs the question. Right?
Yeah. Is there actually any space left for something, genuinely different, something that kind of shakes things up?
Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today.
We are taking a deep dive, focusing on a brand that, well, it's been revived recently, and they're really trying to offer something unique. We're talking about the Löbner Sledge sports watch.
Right. So our mission today, for you listening, is to really unpack what makes this Sledge tick. We'll look at its pretty distinctive design, its history, which is surprisingly deep.
Very surprising.
And zero in on these really innovative features.
Mm-hmm.
By the end, you should have a really clear picture of what makes it different and maybe why it stands out in that busy market.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Because Löbner, not a new name at all, even though they just relaunched.
Not at all. It's a classic German story, actually.
A real heritage brand.
That's right. It goes way back. Founded in Munich, Franz Ludwig Löbner, 1862.
Wow, 1862.
Yeah, we're talking over 160 years of history.
Yeah.
So, that immediately puts them in a different category than a lot of the newer micro brands or niche players.
And what they originally did was fascinating, right? These portable short-time measurement devices.
Exactly. Things that could measure down to like 1100th of a second.
And even 11,000th.
Yeah, which is just incredible for back then. Think about it. Timing the Olympics, setting motorsport world records. That's serious precision chops.
Serious pedigree.
And what's really clever, I think, is how they came back in late 2023. Their first piece, the Steel Racer chronograph.
I remember that one.
It's a direct nod to that history. Unusual display, integrated design, all pointing back to that short-time measurement legacy. It showed they weren't just, slapping a name on a new watch.
Right. There was substance there.
Yeah.
A philosophy.
Exactly.
So, okay, they had the Steel Racer. How did that evolve into this new watch, the Sledge? It's billed as, sleeker time only, but I get the feeling there's more going on.
Oh, there definitely is. It takes that core idea but refines it.
So the basic look of the Sledge Automatic is this lugless case, right? Angular tonneau-shaped.
Yeah, sort of barrel-shaped but really sharp. Very distinct right away.
And noticeably sleeker than the Steel Racer was.
Yeah, a big part of that is losing the graduated bezel. But it's also just the proportions feel more refined. Yeah. Cleaner, maybe more approachable even.
Mm-hmm.
And that lugless design, it's quite bold. It really changes how it sits on the wrist, aiming for this smooth, uninterrupted flow that, honestly, not many integrated watches quite achieve.
Okay, dimensions. What are we looking at?
It's 40.5 millimeters cross. Pretty thin, actually, 9.8 millimeter.
Oh, that is thin.
Yeah. And the length, top to bottom, is compact at 41.8 millimeter, if you don't count that first link that sticks out a bit.
So on paper, maybe sounds a little wide, but you're saying it wears well.
It really does. It
Yeah.
feels very comfortable. Kind of right at home is a good way to put it. Good balance between presence and wearability.
And the finishing.
This is where it gets impressive. The fit and finish, honestly, it competes with proper luxury players.
Really?
Yeah, it feels neat, incredibly solid, lots of little details when you get it in hand. Decent weight, too, about 145 grams on the bracelet, 115 on the rubber. The quality is probably higher than many people would expect from a revived brand.
Okay, now this is where I think it gets really interesting, because the Sledge has these two features that are genuinely unique. They give it its personality.
Right, this is the core of it.
So first up, the patented crown protection slider.
Yep, on the right side of the case.
The Sledge thing, it adds this really cool tactile element, doesn't it?
It really does. It's got this very satisfying click, very mechanical, very German,
Sharp, precise.
Exactly. You slide it up, and then the push-pull crown is revealed. It makes setting the time feel like more of an event. Not just functional, but engaging.
Right, it elevates it.
And what's fascinating is that mechanism, that patented slider, that's actually where the name comes from, the Sledge.
Ah, okay. Makes sense. It's not just a cool feature, it defines the watch.
Precisely.
Okay, what's the second trick? Because there's another clever bit here.
There is the inner rotating minutes flange.
Right, so instead of sticking a rotating bezel on the outside, which might mess with the sleek lines.
Exactly. They went internal. And again, it's a nod to their history with timing.
How does that work?
So the dial isn't just flat. It has this raised outer ring, the minutes flange.
Okay.
And that rotates, so you can use it to time things, up to 60 minutes, just like a dive watch bezel. Handy for tracking elapsed time.
But how do you turn it? Is there another crown?
No, that's the clever part. You actually turn the bezel itself, the part surrounding the crystal.
Hmm.
It's lightly fluted, unidirectional, but it's designed to be almost invisible. Very subtle.
Ah.
No extra crown needed like you see on, say, compressor-style dive watches. And there's an inner circle lock, too, apparently for security,
As it clicks into place.
presumably. And the brand makes a pretty bold claim about it. They say it's the first mechanical wristwatch to feature a mechanism for adjusting the minute scale on the dial by means of a clockwise rotating bezel that can be set to the minute and is water-resistant to 10 ATM.
Wow, that's specific. First ever.
Well, the source we saw had a little to be confirmed
Yeah.
next to that claim. But still, it shows they're really pushing the boat out on innovation here.
Okay, so practically speaking, using this internal bezel,
Yeah.
how does it affect things like water resistance? Are there downsides?
Well, the beauty of having it internal, especially with that lock, is fewer external moving parts,
Right.
fewer potential points for water to get in. So it helps maintain that solid 10 ATM or 100 meters of water resistance while still giving you the timing function.
Makes sense.
As for trade-offs, maybe just getting used to it, and it's not as chunky and easy to grab as a big external bezel, but that's kind of the point for the sleek design. A small price to pay, perhaps.
Okay, moving to the dial itself. You mentioned the flange, the rest of it. Pretty clean, right? No date.
Yeah, very clean. Almost industrial is how it's described,
Yeah.
which fits that German precision vibe.
What about colors?
You've got options.
Oh?
Black, blue, a nice dark green or silver,
Mm.
and they all have this nice sunray brushing effect. Plus gold-colored hands, which adds a little touch of warmth, I think, and helps with legibility, too.
And the engine inside. What's powering it?
It's using the automatic caliber Löbner 6772. That's based on the Le Jouperet G101.
Which is a solid base movement.
Very solid. Good specs, too. 68-hour power reserve,
Nice.
and they regulate it tightly within chronometer specs, so nagly 4 to +6 seconds a day. And importantly, the final adjustment and assembly, done in Germany.
Ah, bringing it home. That adds to the quality story.
Definitely speaks to their commitment.
Okay, straps, bracelet.
Yep, integrated options, either a steel bracelet or a rubber strap, black, blue, or green rubber, to match the dials mostly.
And they both use a butterfly clasp.
That's right. One thing to note, though, no quick change system, so swapping requires tools.
Okay, good to know. And water resistance we covered, 100 meters. Sapphire crystal too, I assume?
Yep, sapphire crystal ticks those boxes.
Right. Availability and the big question, price.
Availability is specific, exclusively through Butcherer stores.
Okay.
And price.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there. 8,600 euros on the rubber strap and 9,600 euros if you want the steel bracelet.
Oof. Okay, so definitely not an impulse buy, not in the accessible segment.
No, definitely positioning itself higher,
Yeah.
but, connecting it back to the whole package.
Yeah.
You have to consider the quality, which we said is really high, the genuinely unique design, those patented features.
True, the slider and the inner bezel aren't things you see every day.
Not at all. So while the price is significant, you can see the justification in the execution and the innovation. It feels earned in a way. It's a great argument for looking beyond the usual, 50 or so brands everyone talks about.
Especially if you want something that genuinely feels different, both to look at and to interact with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is a watch for someone who appreciates that kind of mechanical ingenuity and design difference.
So summing up, the Löbner Sledge really does seem to carve out its own niche, doesn't it? It mixes that deep history with some properly inventive tactile design.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Heritage meets modern thinking, creating something, well, pretty cool and genuinely new for you to check out.
Yeah. A really interesting piece.
And, it makes you think. Maybe leaves you with a question to chew on.
Go on.
Beyond watches, think about other things, other products, other industries. Could they benefit from this same kind of deep dive approach?
How do you mean?
Like a brand finding its unique historical roots, some niche it used to own, and then bringing that forward with really distinct, tactile, innovative features in a modern product. How many other areas are just saturated with sameness where that could really shake things up?
That's a fascinating thought. Taking that blend of heritage and unique interaction beyond just watches, definitely something to mull over.